Oh, wow. Soku's just presented the best thing of all time, or at least near enough. Why does it have a freaking shuriken? Banelings don't have shurikens. What are you doing? Lies and slander. Oh, that is pro, though. I like that. That needs to be posted on the website. Scan that in. But Banelings are not armed with shuriken. How dare you? Ninja Banelings. How do they work? How does your mind work, more to the point? I think it is actually made, or indeed melting, in Baneling acid at this very moment. And by the way, I'm going to be making a concerted effort over the next 3 or 4 days to coin the phrase bowling, which refers to a Baneling with the speed upgrade. Yes, indeed, a bowling. Because Speed Banes is dumb, and I will not allow the term Speed Banes to become any more prevalent than it already is. It's stupid, don't do it. Bowlings, folks, that's what they're going to be talking about. Oh yes, no doubt about that. That is pro. Right. Here come the Speed Banes, or more to the point, here comes my beta post-mortem. Yeah. I think you've heard an awful lot over the past few months about exactly what has been going on with the beta, and hopefully I've given you a really good insight into what you're going to be expecting. To be honest, there isn't a huge need for some massive great post-mortem of the beta, because I think people are already well aware of what actually happened. They're well aware of what to expect and all that kind of thing. But I'd like to tell you about a few of my favorite things. Yes, I don't actually remember the lyrics to that song. I probably shouldn't. It's not the kind of thing that someone as cynical and jaded and cranky as myself should admit to actually knowing. Do I have to look up the lyrics for favorite things? I probably do, don't I? Yes. No, I won't be singing favorite things for you, I'm afraid. Although I could probably come up with some kind of parody for that. So people keep asking me, when are you going to do a new song? Because, you know, Husky did this amazing thing. It's like, well, I don't really have Husky's budget, but I do have someone who's pretty well known who we're working on a song together. It's going to be pretty awesome, hopefully. I don't want to tell you any more about it, but it should be pretty cool. We're working on it. It may be troll-themed. I think that's very, very likely. Might be my 200,000 subscriber video. I don't know. That's coming up in, at this rate, about a month. We'll see. Anyway. A few of my favorite things, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite, and even my favorite zone in Cataclysm, in the new world, as in the new leveling zones, is Uldum. Why is it Uldum? Because I really, really like the environment. I really like the themes. There's a lot of delving into ancient caves and shrines and Titan technologies going on there. It's also got some really great instances in it as well. It's got the Sky Wall, which is an awesome area. It's Stargate, basically, and it's fantastic. So Uldum is definitely the best zone that they've put in. Best zone in the old world, I think, has really got to be Ashara, because that's been nothing but one awesome quest after another. They've really done a number on that zone, and it's certainly it was the worst zone, or at least one of the worst zones in the game, and now it's become one of the best. So they've really done an amazing turnaround on Ashara, and I'm sure a lot of people will be trying that out and will think the same. My favorite instance, my favorite 5-man dungeon, ladies and gentlemen, has got to be Throne of Tides. Why? Because it's the most visually impressive, it has a great selection of bosses, and it also has that fantastic cinematic going on there. It is the next level of 5-man dungeons, and sadly not all of the dungeons live up to that. A close second on that would actually be, honestly, I think, and it might sound boring, Blackrock Caverns, because even though it's a really generic sort of looking dungeon and it doesn't have the stunning and striking visuals of the others, boss-wise and trash-wise, it's actually incredibly well put together. Like, really great boss design across the board, some really awesome stuff, and a little bit of nostalgia thrown in there for good measure. I like that an awful lot. Best raid dungeon, well, I say I didn't do Skywall, so I can't really count on that. So between the two, Bastion of Twilight, in my experience, has more fun bosses than the Blackwing Descent. But still, there's still a great lot of stuff in there. I mean, I suppose I have to talk about favorite boss. Favorite boss in there is, without question, the Ascendant Council, because it's badass. Such a great set of mechanics. I love the way that they synergize together. It's incredibly challenging. Really cool stuff going on there. And even the trash that leads up to them is awesome. So the Ascendant Council, definitely my favourite boss. Zone I dislike the most. I'm going to have to be sad here, and even though it's visually striking, I'm going to have to say Vashir, because I just don't like the underwater crap. I really don't. I don't like the 3D movement. I like having my feet on the ground. So even though it's very visually impressive and there are some good quests in there, I've got to say Vashir is my least favourite zone of the new ones. What else? My least favourite dungeon, still Vortex Pinnacle. Even after the changes, still Vortex Pinnacle on both normal and heroic. It's just boring. It's too long, it's dull, there's trash that doesn't do anything, there's fights that don't do anything, it's garbage. Second least favourite. That's a tough one, isn't it? Because the rest of them are fairly good, it's difficult to say. I think it'd probably be a toss-up between normal mode Grim Batol and the Lost City of the Tolvir, because the Lost City of the Tolvir it doesn't have an awful lot going for it. But regardless, I mean, there's a massive quality difference between Vortex Pinnacle and everything else. That's just something you've got to bear in mind. The rest of it is really, really great. And then you've got that one big difference right there. Biggest surprise. Bear in mind, I don't have a list for these. I'm coming up off the top of my head. I think the biggest surprise, actually, is just how good the Worgen starting zone was. I didn't expect it to be. In comparison to the Goblin with all the explosions and the gimmicks and stuff, I did not expect the Worgen starting zone to be as good as it was. It was genuinely engaging and really great across the board. It is wonderful and you should all do it. Biggest disappointment? Aside from the removal of Path of the Titans, is definitely the return to the Justice Point system and the 2 tiers of badges. The fact that they could not get that out of there is horrible. I just don't know why they hang on to that philosophy. What else? I'd say other things like my favourite items. My favourite tier set. We could start with that, I suppose. I think my favourite looking tier set... It's a toss-up between Druid, which I think is really well put together and is genuinely awesome and very unique, and it really sort of harkens back to the older tier sets in that way. And also, what was the other one that was really, really fantastic? The Warrior one's pretty good. Yeah, it's probably the Warrior one, actually. Between the Warrior and the Druid, they are both really, really great. And, of course, the dumbest tier set, well, it's either Super Jack-O-Lantern Man in the form of the Mage, which, for some reason, people seem to like, and I can't figure that one out, or it is the Hunter set, with those... you have been eaten by a Murloc. Seriously, it's so bad. And as regards to my favourite-looking item... a tough one. I mean, there's so many good ones. I think it's got to be the heroic level Caster Blue Dungeon hat, which is a wizard's hat. It's genuinely a wizard's hat. Like, a really cool one. It's so freaking awesome. Big fan of that one. Right, okay, now that we've done the generally gimmicky stuff, let me just conclude on this one. So, going through the beta and going through the alpha and seeing it grow, it's obvious that Blizzard has taken so much feedback from us as the beta testing team and from the community in general, and they've listened to, mostly anyway, they've listened to the really good stuff. The stuff that's actually going to benefit the game and be genuinely fantastic. That stuff is what they've listened to, and that is what they are actually putting into the game, and it benefits a ton. It really shows. When you take the feedback of the hardcore players, when you even take the feedback of the guys that are casual, but they're not entitled, they've got a really good perspective, because, yeah, it's okay to make the game for both casual and hardcore players, but the difference between a casual and an entitled casual is enormous. It's a massive great void of opinion between those two. Casual players that aren't entitled, that accept their lot and say, look, I don't have the time to do everything, but that's okay, they are really useful because they can help shape the game in a genuinely positive way. Whereas the entitled casuals, while they make demands and they get content nerfed and they whine and cry and scream for nerfs across the board, they want access to everything the guys that play more and are better than them at do. I've said it before, I think the best quote that I came up with during the beta, and maybe it's blowing my own trumpet, but what I will say is sort of a bit of self-deprecation in there. Amongst a sea of bollocks that I said during the beta, one thing rings true: I do not want the game nerfed down to my level, I want to raise myself to the level of the game. It's as simple as that. That should be the philosophy that every player should live by. And I do mean every single one of them. And if they don't, they're doing it wrong. They're entitled. It's as simple as that. But I want the game nerfed down to my level. Oh, suck less. Grow a spine, manup.jpg. Seriously. Bloody wimps, I tell you that. The leveling content is, as a whole, absolutely freaking awesome. The dungeon content is, as a whole, absolutely freaking awesome. As a whole, the raiding content is absolutely freaking awesome. I can't really comment on the PvP stuff, because, like I say, we don't really know about arenas. I think Rated Battlegrounds will be a genuinely good addition, and they might get me back into PvP. Because I think fixed team organised PvP on stuff like Arathi Basin would be really entertaining. Stuff like either Storm, maybe a little bit of Strand. Yeah, I'd be up for that. And of course, you've got the two new ones that are basically like Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin all over again. That is the Battle for Gilneas, that's like Arathi Basin, and the Twin Peaks, that's like Warsong Gulch. Yeah, I will probably play that. That's really, really good. There's not an awful lot to complain about. That's the best thing. You might think that I complain a lot, but there's so much more stuff that I praised during this than I ever did during the Wrath beta. Now, I played the Wrath beta and I was just meh the entire time. Wrath, for me, has been a giant meh expansion. It's been a subscription that I've not even had active for half the time. Why? Because there's been nothing to do. Nothing I've desired to do. I missed half the expansion, folks. I couldn't even care less. It just, nothing enthused me about it. Cataclysm is the best expansion they've ever put together. The point that I want to press home is that Blizzard have to keep going on that. They cannot cave in again. If they do cave in again, that's it. At least it's starting off on the right foot. That will help. It's not starting off in 6 months of Nax 2.0 and Farmerson. That's cool. We've got the equivalent of Old War and stuff right here at the start of the game. That's really positive. They just have to keep that going. They cannot do another TOC. They cannot do another Nax 2.0 because it's just going to be terrible. And then, of course, they can't bring in a massive dungeon like Icecrown, then nerf the crap out of it over the course of a year and expect that to satisfy people for a year. Consider, ladies and gentlemen, for 12 months, on December the 7th when this launches, we will have had ICC for 12 months. That has been the content that we've been expected to live with. Think about how much money you've paid for the privilege of doing ICC for that long. I'll do some calculations for you. If you are in Britain, you have paid £107.88. If you are in the US, you have paid $180. And I believe Europe on $14.99 a month? I can't remember, whatever, it's equivalent. You get the idea. Tell me honestly, was it worth it? I'm thinking the majority of you are going to say no, and you would be right. It wasn't. ICC was not worth 180 of your hard-earned dollars. It certainly wasn't worth 107 of your hard-earned pounds, and whatever other local currency you use, it was not. It was not. You did not get enough entertainment out of it to justify it. That last year has been a giant joke. It has really hurt the reputation of Blizzard, and I'm not going to accept excuses like, oh, we're busy with Kata. To hell with you. You have basically infinite money. And yes, you can throw money at a problem like that. You can hire more people. There's devs lining up around the door to work for you. It's unacceptable. But Cataclysm does look good. It is the Renaissance after the Dark Age. There's really no question about that. They just have to keep it going. They have to actually stay the course in terms of good design philosophy and listening to players that are genuinely willing to try to meet the challenge. Because if they don't, then it's Wrath all over again, and hey, there are other games coming out, and one of them might actually get it right. My name has been Total Biscuit. You have been listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com. Shoutouts for the last few minutes of the show, ladies and gentlemen. That is what is available right now. You can send them in over Twitter, you can send them in over IRC, not Tiny Chat, because it's impossible to read, or you can send them in via email to themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. Shoutouts in we go, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for these shoutouts to go in, I shall give some shoutouts to the people on the cam wall. El Super Bisto. He has... Yes. He's pretending to be a leprechaun. I don't believe it at all. I think he's some kind of false leprechaun. Death to the false leprechaun! That Cynical Brit guy, complete douchebag, owes me 10 quid. Disengage. That's very, very appropriate, considering he seems to be completely disengaged from this particular cast. He's like, oh god, what am I doing here? Why am I even here? Oh god, I'm so bored. What is going on? Gazter, you have a noble assortment of hats, good sir. Very impressive. Avron. I'm fairly sure he was wearing some kind of wig earlier. I'm not sure if that's headphones around his neck or some kind of training bra. It's disturbing nonetheless. Soki. Yeah, you win the prize this time around just because of that. Bainlings. Oh, yes, indeed. Dark Lady, ruining the chat since 2010. Keep it in your pants, ladies and gentlemen. Clouth. He's a statue. He's not moving. Guys, I think he might be dead. Or he's been frozen by some kind of basilisk. No. Oh, we got movement. Do we have movement? Prove that you're alive, damn it. Hey, there you go. Cheesy grin. That's what I'm talking about. Ryan McLaughlin is Luigi. But his head's far too small for it. Godzilla. You know, I saw his door for the past half an hour. That's all I really saw. I assume he was off stomping on Japan. Or should I say Japan? Yakabu, I actually met you at the LAN. He's capable of stringing a sentence together without stuttering and being a weirdo. It's good stuff. And Sid. What's on your shirt? I can't even read that. Is that JD? That better... You can't be drinking a bottle of JD neat. It can't be JD. No, it's probably in a JD bottle. He's trying to look cool and edgy. It's actually apple juice right there. Oh, man. Why so serious, ladies and gentlemen? Shoutouts! Shout out to Stargate for inspiring Oldham. Oh, yeah. That is from Vagabond142. Why the hell are my freaking things... Stupid IRC. A shout out for Warlocks for being a more advanced class than Mages. That's from Sia. Warlocks are for the class that people that want to feel better and superior about themselves play Warlocks. It doesn't actually make them better. A shout out to Nim for getting GT5. I need to get that and be terrible at it. I need to get a wheel for it. Rofa, the Druid on EU Proudmoore. Shout out to my lovely girlfriend Lynn on EU Proudmoore, who finished her stewardess training, is now flying around the entire world. Oh dear, enjoy those TSA pat-downs. I suppose you don't get them as stewardesses. Yeah, everyone just needs to become a stewardess or air hostess, and then they can avoid that TSA nonsense. Shout out to all at the LAN for making my day epic. Timo for the win. That's from Yakavu. And a shout out to Trollface for being awesome and getting free publicity on the EU WoW forums. Yeah. Oh, there's no better one. Trollface, tell me this good. Your tears so delicious, so salty. Yes, let me drink them, let me absorb their power. It sustains me. Hello there, Total Biscuit. Shout out to the Hungering Cold and the Defias Brotherhood EU for being the most awesome guild in the world and making sure I'm even at the current state of WoW, having fun when I log in, and I hope to see you DreamHack. Sadly, I will not be there. Don't have the time, but I will be streaming it, and I'll hopefully be at the next one. Want to meet my Swedish fans? Shout out to Sweden. A shout out to Morarage and his new lame name on Defias Brotherhood EU. That's from Edar. And a shout out to all the US listeners. Have a happy Thanksgiving. A shout out to JNX. It is his 22nd birthday, I believe. Yes. I think it is. So, happy birthday to him. A shout out to Angst on Skywall US because we're awesome. And a shout out to Judgment for being double rainbow awesome. Ugh. Yeah, that's the kind of mincing awesome, isn't it? Shout out to Lap Fox for supplying me with music to listen to while playing WoW. And a shout out to Zad, Corwin, and Zaf from Queensblade on Culturance EU. Hoping for a good return to raiding in Cataclysm. A shout out to E-War on Maelstrom EU for being an awesome boomkin. And a shout out to Mark for being sexy from Azelbor. And again, a shout out to everyone who attained and indeed attended the Cynical LAN. You earned achievement, Cynical LAN. And particular shout outs to Fallen Wiccan and all of the others who turned up. That is absolutely fantastic. You guys were great, and we shall definitely see you at the next one, I should certainly hope. And a shout out, of course, to Cyber Game Zone in the Newcastle, yes, on Cross Street, for hosting that one. You should go check them out. I'm done, folks. More videos coming out. Tonight, we'll be doing videos of poking at the inventory. And then tomorrow, I'll probably do a bit of StarCraft. Might do some Pilgrim's Bounty stuff. And, of course, over the next few days, we'll be gearing up to start Azeroth Daily, which I say, as far as I'm aware, no one has ever done a daily video podcast for World of Warcraft. Now they will. It's gonna be good, folks. Looking forward to it. Gonna be a lot of fun. And I would like to announce the return of Gaming Express. Gaming Express will be coming back as a once-a-week special video game deals show. There's going to be a podcast and a video on my YouTube channel. I will be rounding up all of the weekend deals for every digital distribution site and pointing you in the direction of cheap games, as well as giving you my opinion on them. Mucho requested, so that is exactly what's going to be happening. It will be back, and that's what's going to be happening for that. Should be good, hopefully. I am looking forward to wasting your money. I'm done, folks. Thank you very much. As always, you have been a fantastic audience. Love you all, except for the guys that I despise. I should probably go out on a little bit of Cataclysm music. I want to play something from the Arathi Highlands, and you know what? I'd love to play it if I can find it. I'll have to dig this one out. I'd love to play my favourite theme from Tanaris. That would be really great. It's one of these, I think. I'll give it a try. If I get the wrong one, I'm just going to keep playing it until I get the right one. I'm out of here, folks. Good night.